Hi, I'm Rachel. I work for the Framingham Public Library. This is part of a kitchen series that we're doing called FPL Kitchen. Today we are making vegetarian hand pies. Yay! So the first thing I'm going to do is start cutting up my vegetables. When cutting your vegetables, always maintain a clean station. Ooh, this onion is potent. And I just need small little bite-sized pieces. Nothing too fancy. Ooh. This onion is spicy. Alright, got my onion cut up. And then I got some mini sweet peppers. Take some orange ones. Cut the tops off. I use one onion, and I think I'm going to use about 6 peppers. I have not made this recipe before, so we're on this journey together. And you just got to cut the tops off. And then cut the peppers into little bite-sized pieces. You need 2½ cups of flour, 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, 8 tablespoons of cold butter. You gotta make sure it's cold. You can also replace half butter and half shortening. I'm gonna use all butter today. 1 egg, 1/2 cup of ice water. Make sure it is cold ice water, and then 2 teaspoons of red wine vinegar, which is right here. All right. So first I'm gonna start with my flour. 2½ cups. And I'm just using regular, all-purpose, unbleached flour. And then 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. 1 1/4. And then you want to sift the flour and the salt together. And then next you're going to put in your cold butter. And when you put in your cold butter, I like to use a fork and kind of just like mush it in. You don't really want to use your hands because you want to keep it cold. I forgot a fork. But since we don't have a fork, I'm going to use a wooden spatula. So you want to just mix it in until it's just incorporated and a little bit flaky. Because with pie dough, you always want to keep your ingredients cold. And this pie dough recipe is from a book that we have at the library here called Epic Air Fryer. And it's a thicker pie dough, and we're going to add an egg into it, which is going to make it a little bit more yellow and just a thicker pie dough. You can see it start to mix together. Alright, next, I'm going to add 1 egg. 1 egg. Mix that in. And then your next step is going to be slowly adding in the water and the vinegar. You don't want to add it all in at once because you can never take away once you add too much. So you always want to start off with a little bit and go as you need. See, now you have little clumps and they're starting to form together. And the water and the vinegar is really going to bind it together too. Alright, so I'm going to do a teaspoon at a time with water. 1, 2, 3. The recipe says for 1/2 cup of water. You might not need all of 1/2 cup. Okay. So you want to add your vinegar and your water teaspoon at a time because you're looking for your dough to just be able to form into a solid piece of dough. Right now it's still into little clumps, and that's that's what you're looking for. It's just something to bind it all together, but you still want it to still be as cold as possible too. So I added about 2 teaspoons already of cold water. I add a little, about 3 more. Alright. Just added about 8 teaspoons of water. And a good pita requires a lot of patience. You just got to keep working it, keep mixing it until you get the consistency that you want. Still pretty flaky, so I'm going to keep adding cold water. So it's just starting to be able to form together. Press in your hands. Just a little bit. Still not as solid as I want, so I'm going to keep adding more water. Let's say another like 5 teaspoons. It's getting there. Getting there. I'd say a little bit more water though. It's still too dry for me. And like I said, you just gotta have a lot of patience. Keep working with it. Keep adding a little teaspoon at a time. You can see it's starting to form together. And that's why you want to add the water and the vinegar in slowly, because you can never take away. You can always add. Alright. That seems mixed. Kind of just work the dough until all the little pieces is all into one ball. But you don't want to work it too much, because if you work it too much, you'll warm all the butter in the cold water. And then your dough might not change this recipe up a bit and just use some peppers and onions, a little bit of salt and pepper, some chicken stock, some oregano. Alright, so as our pan is heating up, just gonna toss a little butter in the pan. Oh, a sizzle, okay. Okay. Butter is burning. And just adjust your heat to what you need. I'm kind of winging this as I go. I've never used this hot plate before. Alright. Butter melted quickly. Gonna toss in your vegetables. Alright, and you just want to saute your vegetables until they turn brown. Turn it up a little bit. I usually want to put it at like medium high. But whatever you feel comfortable. For me, cooking is all about, your preference, what you feel, how you like things. I like things pretty simple, so I'm just going to add a little salt. About a teaspoon. And then I have a little pepper and oregano mixture right here. Gonna sprinkle that on. And about a teaspoon too. Whatever your preference is. And then just mix it all together. If you want to add, in this recipe they added paprika, cayenne pepper. If you like your things spicy, you can add some hot sauce. Alright, as your pepper and onions are cooking down, I'm going to add a little bit of flour and some vegetable stock. I changed this recipe from meat pies to vegetarian pies because we have some of our coworkers at the library who are vegetarian. I want them to be able to enjoy these nice, delicious things as well. So I added like a little pinch of flour. I mix that in. And then I'm going to add about half a cup of vegetable broth. Don't know where my measuring cup is, so I'm just going to guesstimate. Looks like half a cup. And then you just want to let this simmer. Maybe turn your heat up a little bit so the liquid cooks off. So filling, all set right here. I cut my cheese up until like 1-inch squares. I like a lot of cheese, so I'm going to put double in each one. Took my dough out from the fridge. Feels good. You want it to be firm and not too dry. I like to work my dough in sections. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to cut it into quarters and work with 1/4 at a time. All right. And then I'm going to roll this out. So, most important step, flour. When working with your dough, you always need a floured surface. It makes it easier to work with, and easier to handle. Since we don't have a rolling pin, we found this lovely sparkling cider bottle, and we're going to use that instead. Make sure your rolling pin or your bottle is well floured. And depending on the size of the hand pies that you want to make, you can make it really thick. I like mine be about the size of my hand, probably enough dough for 2. So I'm going to roll it out and then I'm going to cut it in half. Your pie dough is well floured, because if you don't, it's going to get stuck to everything, and then it's no fun. No fun. Alright, so I'm just working my way from the middle out, and then turning the dough as I go. Alright, I'm going to cut this in half. Kind of like a half moon. And then I'm going to take my filling, grab a spoon, grab a nice spoon. You want your hand pies to be filled, and then you want to put your cheese in, 2 blocks of cheese. And then I'm going to close it, get all my filling inside, and then you can use a fork to pinch it close, or I like to just use my hands and just pinch it close. If you use a fork, it has a nice little design in it. And then I'm just pinching the sides, Why not? And then the most important thing is you always want to cut 2 slits in the top. Alright, so the next part is preheating your air fryer. And an air fryer is basically, it fries things using air instead of oil. You can use a little bit of oil, but you don't need to like drench it in oil. You can use a little bit, but first you want to preheat your air fryer to 350. You want to put it in for 20 to 25 minutes. So it looks like our air fryer has preheated. I'm going to place our pies on the tray. And then pop it in. I would say maybe keep it at 300 instead of 350 for 20 minutes, not 25. But they smell good. They sound good. Have a little crunchy stuff on top. And there you go. Vegetable air fryer hand pies. Thanks for watching.